Greetings and welcome to the Haiku Pond, a place to ponder life through haiku. My name is Anthony, and I'm the caretaker of the pond. Each season, I share haiku written by myself and others. Each episode features haiku centered around a pre-chosen theme. You can learn more at anthonynanfito.com/haiku. If you're ready, let's prepare for our visit. Take a deep breath and dive in. The theme for this visit is wind, and will feature haiku written by myself and others. Field of flowers bloom, dancing with the wind and sun. Lessons from nature. Plants are truly fascinating organisms. Some might say they're not very exciting since they don't ever move or leave the location from where they grow. They never see new sights or experience new things. But perhaps there's a deeper wisdom in remaining in one location or remembering where you're rooted. It's true they remain in one location for their entire existence, but they have learned to dance with the wind and sun, a dance that enriches their existence and ensures their future. In this dance, they have found ways to produce food from sunlight. They have learned to use the wind to spread their seed to new places so that the next generation may do the same. Learning to dance with the wind and sun has allowed whole fields of flowers to come into existence, such as the one that inspired this haiku. And all of this was accomplished without having to leave the location where they grow. They stayed where they were and made the best of their situation. Many of us think that if we were over there, we would blossom and thrive. Even though the sun blankets the entire earth, we still believe the grass is definitely greener over there. And surely, if we were to move to a new place for new experiences, we would be better off than where we are right now. Sometimes this is indeed true. But what is also true is that no matter where you go, there you are. Just like the flowers rooted in the field, you are always rooted with you. To thrive, you just have to remember to dance with the wind and sun. This is the lesson I learned from the wind. This is the lesson I learned from this haiku. What lessons have you learned from the wind? Have you learned to dance with the wind and sun? Share your thoughts by leaving a comment on the blog or YouTube video, or send an email to thehaikupond@gmail.com. Hearing your thoughts makes this more of a conversation, and I look forward to hearing what lessons you've learned. Now let's hear from our listeners. Each haiku will be repeated twice so you can fully immerse yourself within it. If you'd like to submit a haiku for a future episode, please visit thehaikupond.com for details. With that out of the way, let's begin. From Peepa Phillips. Lake wind, the ripples in a wall of ivy. Lake wind, the ripples in a wall of ivy. From Roberta Beach Jacobson. Spring breeze, my ambitions fly away. Spring breeze, my ambitions fly away. From Paul David Manna. Summer wind, A ghost pushes a shopping cart. Summer wind, a ghost pushes a shopping cart. From Tracy Davidson. 1,000 miles, the sirocco carries dunes to my door. 1,000 miles, the sirocco carries dunes to my door. From Lafcadio. January wind, lost in the echo of wind chimes. January wind, lost in the echo of wind chimes. From Catherine E. Winnick. Trailing in the wind, drifting to an unknown end, a white feather. Trailing in the wind, drifting to an unknown end, a white feather. From Ivanka Ettinger. Inside the hurricane, a sleeping snail. Inside the hurricane, a sleeping snail. From Tony Williams. A gale arrives in the still of night, then leaves. A gale arrives in the still of night, then leaves. From Susan Andrews. Wind chimes, moved by a gentle breeze, my thoughts humming. Wind chimes, moved by a gentle breeze, my thoughts humming. From Tunisia Williams. Whisper caressing my ears, softly murmuring, secrets never to be told. Whisper caressing my ears, softly murmuring, secrets never to be told. From Petro C.K. Notebook by an open window. First draft. Notebook by an open window. First draft. From Uche Chukwu Oyedikam. East wind, a reminder to keep flowing. East wind, a reminder to keep flowing. From Hege A. Jacobson Lepre. The way the wind teases the lake's surface, a stolen kiss. The way the wind teases the lake's surface, a stolen kiss. From Chitaluri Satyanarayana. Still lake, believing in the wind, paper boat. Still lake, believing in the wind, paper boat. From Kimberly Kuchar. Sudden slap from my grandma's scarf, salty wind. Sudden slap from my grandma's scarf, salty wind. From C.X. Turner. Once a tiny seed, now a whole forest, blown by the wind. Once a tiny seed, now a whole forest, blown by the wind. From Lucia M. Flavares. Fortune blows its wind, true guises shown, thin-skinned, strong-chinned, or chagrined. Fortune blows its wind, true guises shown, thin-skinned, strong-chinned, or chagrined. From Ali Zanaidi. Summer night, sirocco wind, a fan for the moon. summer night, sirocco wind, a fan for the moon. Special thanks to all the poets who submitted their haiku for this episode, both to the poets who were featured and those who were not. I was overwhelmed and honored by the amount of haiku submitted for this episode. If time were an unlimited resource, I would love to have read them all. However, since it's not, I had to make some tough calls and limit the number of haiku featured in this episode. Regardless if you were featured or not, it was an honor and a pleasure to read the submissions. And of course, I encourage everyone to submit again in the future. If you're listening and you'd like to connect with the featured poets in this episode, visit the show notes linked in the description for links to connect with them online. The theme for our next visit will be fire, and your haiku need to be submitted by 11:59 p.m. Bangkok time on Friday, September 9th, 2022. You may submit one haiku for this theme. It can be published or unpublished as long as you retain the rights to share it. To submit your haiku, follow the link in the description or visit thehaikupond.com and click the red Submit button at the top of the page. If you have any trouble, please send an email to thehaikupond@gmail.com. Special thanks to all of those who communicated to me that I made a typo and forgot to change the theme name on the form for this episode. This time I've made sure that the theme is listed as fire throughout the form. In case it's not, feel free to let me know. I greatly appreciate it. Lastly, I want to say a huge thank you to Stina Hernandez for your financial contribution on my Buy Me a Coffee page. I'm humbled and honored. Your support helps keep the lights on and the mic recording. Thank you, Stina. If you're listening and you'd like to make a contribution to help support the podcast and receive a special shout out in a future episode, visit buymeacoffee.com/wordsbyfifi. Thanks for visiting the Haiku Pond. To read the featured haiku and connect with the featured poets, check out the show notes in the description of this episode. If you've been inspired by what you've heard, please share the show with a friend. For podcast updates, join the mailing list at haikupond.ck.page. For inquiries, send an email to thehaikupond@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow the podcast on Twitter @thehaikupond. Thanks for listening. See you next time.